How you guys doing? Welcome to another video. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about Classic Plus, specifically why I believe that Blizzard should not make Classic Plus. All right, now before I get into this video, I do want to go ahead and define what Classic Plus is. I know there's various different definitions out there. You could ask various different people, you might get, asking 10 people, you might get 10 different answers. But I do think for the sake of this video, we should focus on one definition, and that definition is going to be the continued development on the foundation of Classic Era World of Warcraft prior to entering the Dark Portal, right? Now, we can go ahead and easily go into specific systems and balances in world development, but for the sake of this video, this is just not going to be that video. We're going to do that, okay? We're going to talk about specifically why I think that Blizzard should not make their own Classic Plus servers. This is why I believe they should not. Number one is I believe Blizzard struggles with a vision of Classic Plus that is able to satisfy the masses, right? Like I said, there's various different ideas of what Classic Plus is, and looking at what Blizzard has shown us so far with what they've tried to do, you've seen something like Classic Era, and then obviously Burning Crusade Classic, Wrath Lich King Classic, but then they went into Cataclysm Classic and Mists of Pandaria Classic. Is Warlords of Draenor going to be next? I have no idea, but it's kind of one of those things that's interesting because it could happen. It might happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but you kind of wonder where they're going. We saw Season Discovery, and Season Discovery was probably, in my opinion, the closest idea of seeing them try to delve into a Classic Plus world. To a lot of people, it seemed almost like a beta for Classic Plus, right? You had this whole rune system. You had new dungeons that were reworked into raids, which frankly I think they did a really good job at. Scarlet Crusade raid, you had a dungeon in Ashenvale in the demon area. All right, I didn't do it, but I heard that it was really cool. I did see some footage of it. Same thing with the Scarlet Crusade raid. I also didn't get a chance to do Karazhan Crypts because the time that content started coming out, the phase that it was in, I was already done with Season of Discovery. I had just had enough of it. It was just way far off the mark for what I personally was looking for. It was really, really fun for a couple of months, but that's about all that I got out of it. You know, when you look at what they tried to give us in that showing was very, very good for a seasonal server, but Classic Plus, no, it is not. So far off. The second reason I would say is because the competition is just insanely high, and not only is the competition high, but the competition is good. It's great. It's phenomenal. With that, I'm going to stick specifically to two different servers right now, two different private servers. We're going to talk about Turtle WoW, and we're going to talk about Ascension. All right, Ascension having various different types of classic, we'll just call them custom Classic WoW servers. All three of them are different from one another. Then you have Turtle WoW, which is essentially just a Classic Plus, more role-playing community, but very, very authentic to what most people might describe or define Classic Plus as in its roots. Okay, very, very respectful to the foundations of vanilla WoW and the source material, you could say, right? But it's not only that, it's also the fact that they're not going to be first to market. These servers are old. Well, not just old, but they've been around for over 5 years. And that's my next point right there. These servers, Turtle WoW and Ascension, both have been out for over 5 years. They have over 5 years of content that they're working with. You have Turtle WoW specifically, if you go into the game and you open up the maps, you have the original Kalimdor, and then you have Eastern Kingdoms, and they have all the various zones that were in the original with some new islands. But for the most part, if you look at Classic Era, go on Blizzard Classic Era and open the maps, minus the extra islands that are on Turtle WoW, it looks exactly the same. The difference is that on Turtle WoW, a lot of these zones that exist on a Classic Era map are actually filled out. Gilneas is actually a zone, all right? It's not just something when you mouse over it, nothing happens, right? Hyjal exists, it's a zone. All these other zones, they have created them, and they just released 3 zones in the last couple of months. So this is all content, not to mention the fact that they have thousands of extra quests, more dungeons, more raids, tier 3.5. This is so much content that it would be really, really hard for Blizzard coming out with a Classic Plus to even be able to compete, which leads me into my the next thing I want to talk about. If Blizzard releases Classic Plus and it is not at least on par with what is available and what already exists, they're essentially going to get destroyed online. People will be playing Blizzard's Classic Plus on day one. They're not going to choose to miss it. I would not miss it. I would line up. I would be there the second the servers go live. All right. I want to play. I want to play. I would love to play a Blizzard Classic Plus if I had faith that they would do a good job and be faithful to it. But they are going to be compared to other servers. There's no way around that. Like I said, these servers have been out so long. So having to create a game in the shadow of private servers is so hard. It's almost something that shouldn't even happen. You shouldn't have to compete with these people. You should not have to compete with private servers. This is your game. But unfortunately, it's a game and almost a community that you have chosen to abandon for years. And people decided that instead of waiting for you, they're just going to create their own thing, and they have, and it's wildly successful. Okay. The next point I want to get across is why I don't think that they're up to the task is just simply because they lack the one thing that they need to win over the hearts and minds of the community, which is passion. Okay. And not just passion, but experience. Classic WoW is over 20 years old now. All right. And people are still going into Classic WoW. They still want to experience it. They love what was originally created. They just want to see more of it. But when you think about passion, you look at Turtle WoW. You can see the passion. You can feel the passion when you go through the game. When you step into Gilneas the very first time, it is breathtaking. And you go through and you do all the quests. I remember when they released Gilneas, I was there on the first day with friends, and we were playing that zone when they released it. It was amazing. They even went as far as to not allow any kind of quest helper add-ons or anything like that. The wiki was shut down, so everybody went into Gilneas blind. Absolutely blind. You had to read each and every single quest. You had to go through and take your time and explore. You didn't know how many quests were available for Gilneas City Dungeon. Our team thought that we had them all, and then one of the people on our team who was a druid, decided he was just gonna go hopping around in the mountains, and he found a secret pathway all the way to the top of the mountains and found another quest that we had missed. And we ran Gilneas together the first time, never having done any of the bosses, never having done anything. Like I said, no quest helper, no deadly boss mods, nothing like that. It was such an amazing experience. It took me back to over 20 years ago when I played Vanilla WoW for the first time. It was such a good experience. And that kind of passion is something that you can't buy. You can't hire that kind of passion. That passion exists in somebody's heart and somebody's soul. And I will just speak for myself. I don't see that in Blizzard's development team, and I have not seen that passion, that level of passion and care for years. It just hasn't been there. So if they don't create Classic Plus, what then? In my opinion, I believe that they should license Classic WoW out to people, well, development teams who actually want to make their own Classic Plus or Classic WoW private servers. That's, in my opinion, what I believe going forward Blizzard should do. Now, a lot of people hear something like that and they kind of step back. They're kind of like, well, wait a minute, this is Blizzard's thing. Of course they should do Classic Plus, but with how difficult it's going to be with the things that I've talked about. Now, of course, this is just my opinion, but I really believe that this is the best thing for Blizzard. It's going to be money from day one. They don't have to, it's very, very little investment for really high potential gain, for high potential gains. There are so many people, like I said, millions of people all around the world that want to play Classic Plus. And there are tens of thousands of people, well, maybe hundreds of thousands of people actually, who log on and play on these private servers. However, it would be millions, it would be absolutely millions if they did not have the fear of being banned on official, and if they just did not, not care for the idea of playing on private servers in the first place. I know that that's an issue for a lot of people. I definitely respect that, but that is a huge thing that keeps people from playing on these Classic Plus private servers. There's plenty of, very well-known streamers who want to play on these servers. There are very well-known streamers that actually play on these servers. They just don't talk about it. They want to play on these servers. They do play on these servers, but they keep it quiet. But if they didn't keep it quiet, they would be all over it. And so would millions of other people. They would be opening up servers in the United States. They'd be opening up servers all over the world, which they don't do. And they stick to specific countries where they feel that it's a little bit more safe to go ahead and be running these private servers from. Now, this does not have to affect the official or the retail version, rather, the retail version of World of Warcraft at all, because all it would affect is the versions of World of Warcraft that Blizzard decides to go ahead and license. But I truly believe that that's the way forward. Like I said, it's very little investment for huge potential gains. It is not going to take a lot of time for them to move forward with something like that. Most importantly, it will be a huge W for the community, because like I said, it's going to be very hard. One of the things that I've realized, of course, playing all these private servers that I've played on and playing the amount of Blizzard Classic WoW and Classic Hardcore that I've played, is there are so many different ideas of what Classic Plus is. Everybody has their own idea. It's going to be very, very, very hard for Blizzard to satisfy that need for all the different players that they have. You can see that they're struggling so hard, even when it comes to Classic. You look at, you got Classic Era, then they went into Classic TBC, then they went into Classic Wrath, and I can't remember what they did first, Cataclysm Classic or Season of Mastery, but then it was Hardcore with Season of Mastery, I believe, and then it was official Hardcore Realms, and then maybe it was Cataclysm Classic or in there somewhere. Now they're doing Anniversary, right? There's so many different things that they're doing when it comes to Classic, and then Season of Discovery, because they have so many different ideas that are being thrown in there, that we want to see this and we want to see that, and then they give you what you want and that's not enough, and now you want this. It would just be much easier for them to wash their hands of the whole situation and just move on and allow teams that have the passion, that have the drive, and want to move forward with their vision of what Classic Plus or Burning Crusade Classic or Wrath of the Lich King Classic, what have you, move forward with their vision. And that is what I would love to see happen. Now, I would love to have your input on this video. I know there's probably many of you guys who disagree. I'd love to hear your agreements or your disagreements in the comments below. Let's try to keep it civil. But if not this, then what would you recommend? All right. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel. I go live almost every day on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/HeroVision. You all have a fantastic week, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.